The name Alliance Networking is one that I coined to describe this. I doubt that you'll see it anyplace else, but I needed a name to describe what we're going to do. And since I'm in the process improvement business and have watched people go through the job search process a lot, so I mentioned a few minutes ago that when I started Value Train, all of our students were unemployed. So I've gone through the employment process myself multiple times, sometimes just to change jobs, and a few times because I had to. So I've seen this from multiple aspects, and it appealed to me as a problem, as a process. So the process of finding a job is a process, yet it's not studied and it's not controlled. And all these techniques we use to improve business processes could be used to improve the job search process, but nobody does it for a variety of reasons. So this webinar is going to be an attempt to take one small piece of the process improvement methodology and apply it to one small piece of job search. See if I can get our slides to move here. So this surprising topic, I think, to many of you, if anybody who's heard anything about looking for work and how to find a job and all that sort of stuff, this is not going to be anything like you've heard before. So you might find it kind of surprising, and I expect that the vast majority of you, even if you find this interesting and challenging and something that you want to do, are not going to do it yourself. But that's okay. Because when you hear ideas that are new, it triggers something in your brain, and it doesn't go away. So hopefully, even if you don't use what I'm going to describe here directly, and some of you will be able to use it directly, but if you can't, it should give you something to think about and get your brain working in ways that are slightly different than it used to. And so maybe a new idea will pop out, and so you'll evolve your own idea. So hopefully this is going to be helpful to you one way or another. A few notes about myself that we didn't already cover. I am in the process, by the way, of expanding my business more into data analysis. I didn't mention that before. I'm actually in grad school right now getting a master's degree in applied statistics. Because a lot of what we do in advanced problem solving does involve data and data analysis and statistics, and it's a part of the job that I particularly love. So not that has a whole lot to do with what we're going to talk about today, but you're going to see some numbers and statistics on here today. In terms of my qualifications to talk about this subject, in addition to having found jobs, I've been an employer, and I've run companies and departments, and I've had to hire lots of people. So I've been on the end of the job search process where I've seen candidates come at me, and I've seen their resumes, and I've interviewed them, and I see what the process looks like from that point. I also coach them, so I'm a volunteer at a local, very large and very successful job search group from a group called the Roswell United Methodist Church in Atlanta, and I've also had to do it. So I've lost 3 jobs and found a reemployment from them, and every single time I did that, I changed careers. I don't know if that's a coincidence or not, but I think if I were going to do a study of the jobs that we get over time as we age in our career, the probability of changing careers goes way up with age. For a variety of reasons, but that's going to be a topic for another talk, I think. Let's see. I've already talked about Value Train, so I think I'm going to skip this. There's nothing new to talk to you about that, and we've already mentioned the topics that we train on. I've taken ITIL off of this slide. It's in my original introduction, but we don't do that anymore. Instead, we're doing more and more quantitative methods training and consulting. Working. Let's get to the topic. Alliance networking is a simple idea. The idea is that if you are in a job search, that if you combine forces with somebody else, somebody who I'm going to call a peer, it will increase the likelihood for both of you, not just for one of you, but for both of you, that you will land a good job. And so looking for work, of course, you want the probability to be high. the probability isn't very high on any particular day. So this is a technique that I think that probabilistically is going to help job seekers. Word peer there. So let me make sure that we all know what a peer is. So when we are working, our peers are the people who do things similar to us, same kind of degrees, same kind of jobs perhaps. If you're a project manager, the other project managers in your company are your peers. If there are no other project managers in your company, then other project managers in other companies are your peers. And when we are employed, we tend to hang around our peers. We exchange ideas, we network with them, we learn from each other. We go to conferences and seminars and all sorts of things where we're constantly surrounded by our peers. So they're people that we mutually learn from. But a funny thing happens when we lose our jobs. Our peers suddenly become our competitors. And so we do exactly the opposite of what we do in our work life. We start to avoid our peers. So maybe we'll hang around them superficially. Maybe we'll go to a trade show still because there's things we want to learn, but we're going to be very circumspect and very careful about what we share and what we tell our peers, because if we meet a peer who is also unemployed, then we're going to see them as a competitor for the same job that we want. And we don't want competitors, so we don't want to talk to them too much. I said that I'm going to treat this as a process. So I think that job search is a process. It's a pretty loose process. There's no one organization or person that's in charge of it, right, because it's different every time. Yet it does have a lot of the elements of a process, and that there's a number of things that have to happen in order. So I'm going to use an analogy here, and the analogy I'm going to use is a hurdles race at a track meet. So I used to run track and cross country, so I didn't run the hurdles because I could run, but I couldn't jump. So that ruled me out of this. But in a track meet, we in the hurdles race, we all start off kind of equal, and then we run as fast as we can to get to the other end, and we have to jump over these hurdles. And at any point, if you knock the bar off the hurdle, you're out of the race. It's over. And the job search process is a lot like that. So there are a series of hurdles that we have to cross, and if we fail to cross one of them, if we knock the bar off at that point, that's the end of that race for us. We have to go find another race because we're out of this one. So that's going to help us to kind of think of it as a process. So what are the hurdles in a job search? Well, they aren't going to be a surprise to anybody who's looking for a job. So I don't intend for the list you're looking at here to be a comprehensive one, but this is an example of what the hurdles are. So we have to identify a position or a company. We have to get them to become aware of us. There has to be some contact. There's typically a phone interview. There's then typically a personal interview. There's some kind of competition that happens here at that point. There may be a negotiation. So depending on the level of the job, if somebody wants to make you an offer, there may be a negotiation phase. And the higher up the food chain in the corporate world you are, the more likely you are to negotiate. So at the bottom end of the food chain, negotiations don't happen. At the top end of the food chain, the negotiations happen all the time. And if you get through each one of these hurdles, then success is that you get the offer and you accept it. So it's over and all the other candidates are out of the running. You're sure that there are recruiters in the world who are involved in many job searches. And the more complicated the job and the higher level the job is, the more likely